Okay, it's almost coming up line. It's not online yet. It's gonna be online eventually. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's not getting there. It's getting there. Okay, great. We're online now. So, hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and hey, we're coming in today to talk about My Hero Academia Season 3 and what we thought about it. So, joining me tonight we have, and I'm going down the list of what's on Discord. First we have Alibaba, or Ali Spoopy.
Ali Spoopy, because it's, you know,
Ali Spoopy, right.
Hey guys, I'm a weeb.
Okay, and then we also have a legend coming on with us, Dr. Zach.
Yo.
We have
anticlimactic.
We have Maria as well. I'm not sure if Maria is gonna pop online. Oh, there's already a lot of people watching. Great. And we also have Skelly.
Hi. Hi, hey. I'm Skelly.
And he's also the one who just went on and is saying hi to everyone on the chat. So, good stuff. Okay, Maria, can you... Oh, maybe later. Okay, whatever. We'll see what happens. Anyway, yeah, guys, we're going to be talking about Hero Academia and just what we ultimately thought about it. And I guess we'll just start it off with something simple like, did we think this was good, guys?
Yes.
Excellent.
I mean, that's straight up. They definitely held up the animation, and I mean, as far as working with seasons go, being a One Piece fan myself, where they're doing literal one-for-ones or worse, as far as translating content, like the season format really helps keep everything fresh. And then I really feel like everything comes together at the end, and it definitely leaves you wanting more going out of the season, which I think is something that the previous two seasons didn't really have. They didn't really have a hook to get you into the next season.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like this season, because I thought we were going to end off with the Bakugo-Izuku fight, because that's how Season 2 kind of ended off with those three, Bakugo, Izuku, and All Might. So I was surprised that we got so much information for Season 4 right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was concerned if they were going to try to fill it with any kind of filler, fluff, or anything, but they just went straight ahead into what I was like, okay, well, they're basically starting Season 4 now if I was going to start Season 4, so...
Yeah, no, agreed.
I'm really glad they ended it there.
Yeah, agreed. It made me feel like Season 4 was going to be coming sooner rather than later because of just... I mean, introducing Overhaul was a pretty ballsy move, or a pretty big move, because it's pretty much everyone's going to be excited to see what's going to happen with him next season. Ali, you can talk, you know. Huh, okay, well...
I think, This is more coming from a manga perspective. The introduction of Overhaul in like the end of a season hypes him up incredibly, which is perfectly justified because he is probably the villain for the entirety of the next season, or at least the first half. I don't know.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a big deal type setup where, like, they don't just introduce him at the beginning of a season and after everyone's already kind of like cooled off. Nah, he's like, they set up this whole scenario where the villains are clearly looking for new talent or new people to meet up with, and they have already introduced him as a big deal person, so that intrigue sets up now, and then when everyone comes back to it fresh, because what everyone's going to do is that before Season 4 comes out, they're going to rewatch, you know, probably Season 3, and then they're like, oh yeah, this guy was set up to be a big deal.
I mean, yeah, I guess they will kind of have to do that for Season 3, at least for the last couple of episodes, just to catch up on what happened. I hope that Season 4 doesn't start with some kind of weird recap episode, though. I think we could do without the recap episodes.
Yeah, those need to go. I think if you're needing a recap 4 seasons into a show, yeah, I don't really get what's going on with that anymore. This is just unnecessary.
Agreed. 1 second, Ali. I'm not sure if I can hear you. Okay. Were you saying something, Ali?
Oh, no. I was just like unmuting and then muting.
Oh, okay. Do you have any thoughts about season 3?
Yeah, I will say production values were pretty good. Like they got a lot of new talent to do key animation for the fight scenes, which you could really tell. Like it's not just like the regular people at Bones. They actually gave people who came out of university to like get opportunities to do new fight scenes. So
okay.
So that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yep. What's it called? I will say my only problem with the production was like the problem that I've had with like all 3 seasons so far is that the backgrounds aren't really that well detailed, which has kind of been a problem for a long time, but I'm not sure if they're really going to fix it at this point just because they're kind of used to having that look.
Yeah, now it's become a standard type thing where like they don't want to start messing with the standard of what they've already put out.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's not as if their backgrounds are worth a lot anyway. Like, it's not incredible sceneries that we're usually seeing here at Academia.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, but I really like some more, like, I guess, innovation or, like, style with how they are. Like, they could have drawn them more to look like a comic book background.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, if I'm assuming all of us have actually read what season 4 will effectively be like, and where the majority of at least the first part of season 4 is going to take place is in a building, so it's going to be really hard for them to make that anything specific. So hopefully they invested in a lot of the character details and events that are going to go on instead. So hopefully it works out for season 4 better than it did this season.
I also, just one thing I'd like to comment on about what you guys were talking about before, how the ending seemed like more of a season beginning than a season finale. I think they're doing that just because of how people are used to binging series now. Like, people don't really watch week to week as much, but like if newer people are trying to get into My Hero Academia, they're probably going to binge the whole thing. So it's like a better transition for people who are binging series, like whole season.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
That's part of why I brought up rewatching season 3 before season 4 comes out.
And also you have to reconsider the rewatching too. Like, people are just going to watch all 3 seasons and then start with season 4 again. So it's a really good transition if you think of it from that way.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think a problem with the early part of the season was a lot of their staff was working on the movie.
True.
Oh, was that legitimately something that was going on?
The Izuku versus Muscular fight wasn't really that great. It was pretty static.
Yeah. I was pretty underwhelmed.
You're probably out with the All Might versus All for One fight.
Yeah, coming out of the fights, I didn't really care about them all too much, seeing them animated. I liked the idea of All for One showing up in general, but the All Might fight was a lot more boring than I remembered it being. Boring in terms of action, not boring in terms of emotion.
It's something that's harder to translate when you're reading it versus you're watching it. Because reading it, you do build a slower anticipation at your own pace, and to translate that for everybody into one kind of fluid animation and fluid sequence is really difficult.
Agreed.
I think it still does exactly what it needed to do, but I also didn't feel the impact that it did when I read it myself.
Yeah.
I will say they could have done the same thing they could have did for the the Todoroki fight, where they kind of stylized it a lot more than it was in the manga. So they could have done something like that to make it more interesting.
Well, I mean, they did do that during the Bakugo escape.
But I'm just saying for all the fights, not just for one fight.
It wasn't even a fight.
Oh yeah, the Bakugo escape.
Bakugo taking off into space and then getting interrupted.
The Bakugo escape was one of the most annoying things I saw this whole season.
Oh man, the entire scene was so disjointed.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. It was definitely visually impressive. But if he could go that far in the first place, he didn't need Izuku and the rest of them to save him. Technically, by what we just saw, it was something.
Then there's the Mount Lady rescue right after. Which makes no sense because she was in the rubble pit.
Oh yeah.
They're like miles away by now.
Yeah,
and then they're back there.
Yeah, Bakugo cleared a solid building. Like he should not have been anywhere near the debris.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I think at a certain point you kind of do have to kind of throw a lot of like area plot, like reasoning, and just kind of enjoy the moment for what they are. But I do feel like that's kind of an oversight. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
I think it's just harder to go. Like if you try to nail down all the details, you're gonna miss key details. Whereas if you get the key details first and you miss a few of the smaller bits, I feel like it's less damaging. So I think if you want the cool scene, you're gonna miss some minor plot points or some minor like scene details.
No, I agree with that. And that's like at the end of the day, we know why they did it the way they did. It's because the way they did it looks good. It's pretty entertaining, but it's one of those things where if you didn't know that reasoning, it's just like one of those things like later on in maybe someone will make the criticism, oh, why did this happen when he could do this, this, and this, right? But then you know, if you know the underlying logic behind why it happened, you can usually stop that kind of criticism. It's just one of those things that's going to happen regardless. Yeah,
I watched Venom this weekend. I know exactly how that goes.
Yeah. How was Venom? You were saying you're in the 83% that liked it?
Yeah, the 89%. So it's like the split between that was like 32% of critics liked it, but 89% of audiences liked it. And I'm like, I really feel that it's one of those movies where number one, you can't ride the fence on it. There's literally like either you're in a camp that loved it or you're in a camp that was just like, this is awful. I was in a camp that it was just like it delivered everything I wanted it to. It was entertaining, and by the end of it, I wanted to see more of it. That this is literally all you need for a good movie. And it did require a lot of like you can't run into it with logic because there's no logic in the movie of Venom. It's not a logical movie. It's just stuff is happening. Enjoy it for what it is, kind of deal.
Okay, it's just a fun movie.
A lot of the commentators are talking about the big three.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm seeing that.
What was your thoughts on the big three?
I mean, I think there's a serious writing error on Mirio. That's all I was thinking when he was introduced.
What do you mean?
It's the scene where he shows up in front of Izuku and he's in the ground. He shouldn't be able to talk in that scene because the air escapes from his lungs, and then there's the boundary of the earth between, like, somewhere in his throat. Air shouldn't be able to pass through his throat in order to be able to talk to the people, or in order to be able to talk to Izuku.
Yeah, Mirio is probably the hardest character to consistently write for, I feel. Like just in terms of how his ability works, and you definitely want a person that could like go through a wall and talk to you, but then it's just like, well, the logic behind that would dictate that he can't do it.
I mean, it was like that in the first scene. He showed up in the manga too.
Yeah. It's just,
I agree. Like this is.
Yeah, I just realized it when I was watching that scene.
Like this has happened before, where a character does something. And then later they explain that they're Quirk. Oh no, we can't do that.
Has it happened before? Who has it happened before with?
This is like serious manga spoilers, actually. Now that I think about it.
Oh, is it? Okay. Is it not Mirio? Is it another character? Oh, okay. Yeah, type it out for me. Oh, okay.
Yes, it has been typed out. Anyway, no, this is serious manga spoilers, so I can't really say anything. But
okay, yeah, fair.
Horikoshi obviously writes these characters with an introduction in mind to show, look how whatever these characters are. And then later he'll think about it more and think, no, I can't really have it be that way because I don't want to make it this ridiculous.
Yeah, like when I was looking at the scene, it honestly felt like it was introduction over the logic. And I think if he had just not added the line that the air escapes his lungs when he goes underground, if they didn't add that in, it would have been fine. But his is one of the worst his quirk just contradicts itself, and it's the same guy that's contradicting it. And I just thought it was funny. But that's the thing that stuck with me about the big three. Also, Nigeria doesn't get any attention, so I don't even know. I don't even know what to be excited about.
More.
Yeah. Sorry, you said you wish his
black.
Oh, should have been black.
His eyes should have been black because the blue eyes without the
black,
the sclera or anything looks weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I thought that was weird too. I saw that one of the color pages had some blue, but they still had black above it. So it still looked kind of reasonable.
Doesn't look as cartoony.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Zach, how did you feel about the big three being introduced, aside from Nijiri needing some attention?
I mean, as far as their introduction to the class and everything, I think it was fine. I do feel like they don't really kind of put why they're the big three. I mean, admittedly, you kind of want to save that maybe. They do obviously will get into that during Season 4's events. But I really don't think the impact of why these three are the big three, other than when you see Mirio take on the class, like you don't walk away with knowing that these are the top students. Like, if Mirio can bring what he brought to the table, what makes the other two so special? It leaves a lot more questions than it did with a lot of like actual answers and resolution that would make you go, okay, I understand why these three characters are very important.
Mm-hmm. I do think that, because I think this was in the episode, Aizawa says that Mirio is like the guy closest to number one, and I always found that line really weird. Like, yeah, he beat up a bunch of kids, but that's still not something that I would say puts him to be able to overwhelm people like... Oh, I shouldn't say the names.
I mean, yeah, it's weird, because you wouldn't want to say that he's closer than Endeavor. Like,
yeah.
Admittedly, yeah, Endeavor doesn't really have the social qualities, which is kind of Endeavor's biggest hookup. But, like, Mirio, in terms of skill and ability and everything he's been trained on, he's still only, like, a student in the school. Like, that's still a really big claim.
Could I just put, like, a input in here? This is kind of like spoilers, but I think the thing about being closest to number one is kind of relevant to something that happens a bit later in the manga, about like All for One and stuff. I mean, One for All.
Okay. Being close. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
But see, that's kind of contradictory though, because as far as everyone else outside of All Might knows, and then like the people that he entrusts, like, they can't really speculate how useful Mirio would have been with the One for All ability, you know? Like, sure, if Mirio did have One for All, like, I don't know, it's really hard to put that assumption there. But I mean, I get that logic, Maria. I don't know. Like, again, it might still be something that the manga will have to catch up with at some point.
I mean, I just feel from the perspective of Aizawa, the most cynical person in the world, I don't understand how he could say the guy is closest to number one when there's people like the number 3 hero at that time still being moderately charismatic. That's just the only thing I didn't... I think it was just overhyping him at the time, but it might be something that just hasn't been revealed fully.
Yeah, I think the line was a bit out of place.
Ooh, everyone's talking.
Mirio's really similar to All Might.
Way overhanded.
Okay, 1 second. Skelly, you go for it.
All right. So if he was talking about attitude, Mirio does have quite a similar bent to All Might's sort of saving people attitude, instead of straight up being just power.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Maria, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was just saying I think the line was a bit out of place because there wasn't really anything connecting it to the stuff that we don't know. Like, only really the manga readers would know that far ahead.
And even then, it feels like we still have to do quite a bit of work to make that line make sense. At least in my perspective.
Yeah.
And then
Aizawa exists as a voice piece for whatever idea Horikoshi has at the moment. Because he wanted to hype up Mirio. There we go. Aizawa is going to say, closest to number 1.
Oh, Ali, are you saying something?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That makes sense to me. If he needs to get the viewers or the readers framed into a certain mentality, definitely use Aizawa, because you're gonna be like, oh yeah, Aizawa's an authority figure. He probably knows what he's talking about. Although not in this case, I don't think he did. Other than
complaints about Aizawa.
Yeah, like what?
Well, he's a terrible teacher. Good God.
Yeah, but I think he knows that too, because he definitely didn't want to be a teacher going into UA.
He's the best teacher. What do you mean?
The question is, why is he still a teacher?
Wait, sorry, Ali, did you think he's the best teacher?
I think he's the worst, objectively. Out of the teachers who are currently at UA, Aizawa is the worst.
Why? What is
I would rather have Present Mike as the homeroom teacher. He would be great. Oh my God.
I feel like President Mike would also be a bad homeroom teacher, but
I feel like I'd go deaf if I was in that guy's class every morning.
I mean, someone must be in his class every morning. Can't just have a teacher not have a homeroom.
Okay, so people are asking, why is Aizawa the worst teacher? I don't think he's worse than
At the start of the story, we see he's expelled 160-something students in his maybe 6 years of being a teacher.
Yeah.
And he just has high standards. Skelly, you're just a hater.
Well, then you start looking at, I mean, going back to Season 3, especially when they're going through the hero licensing exam, and they start making exceptions and saying, hey, you know, like, even you guys that didn't pass the final part, we're still just looking to get heroes. There's a remediation course, you know, in like a couple weeks or whatever. You know, like they're looking to get heroes, so it's really weird that they're kind of enabling Aizawa to cut out a lot of potential anyways, based on what we saw this season.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And like when you think about the Class 1A composition, I don't think Sugarman or Coda, well, maybe Coda, but I don't think Sugarman has done enough to say like, oh yeah, I feel like this guy is going to be good hero material. I mean, I think it's one of those things where like the author introduced him as this guy who is a hard ass, but then in practice it doesn't really feel like he lived up to that kind of hype.
I think that's kind of a fault of having like 20 students in a class that you all need to like deal with, and you don't have enough like panel or screen time to develop them all though.
No, yeah, I agree. That's definitely the problem when it comes to having that many people in a classroom, or that many people that
I mean, that's
yeah.
Yeah. That was my big thing for a while, was just like, if this series is going forward, they're going to have to start cutting heroes at some point. Going to have to start cutting down on the cast members. And unfortunately for Sato, yeah, the sugar guy, like his best scenes are all comedic. He literally has had no impact on any actual fight or scenario in the show at all. Like there's literally no reason for this character other than Horikoshi wrote him in to fill a character spot.
Yeah, and we know he did that quite often with a lot of the members of Class 1A, just from the notes he has on the little volume extras. People are still talking about the teacher thing. Someone's pointing out that Midnight might be the worst teacher because she's borderline pedophile.
I object to the borderline part.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's a risque one. But in seriousness, I think I feel
risque.
I feel like All Might's probably the worst teacher on paper because he has the least experience. Whereas I think Aizawa is just, I think he's a responsible person in general because he's the one that we see reprimanding the kids a lot, and he's the one that we see also reprimanding Izuku a lot. But he's not really doing it from the perspective of a teacher. He's doing it from the perspective of a good adult. Otherwise, I don't think he really cares about teaching kids. I don't think he cares about it.
He's not a teacher. He's someone who punishes bad more than a teacher.
Yeah.
He reprimands rather than teaches, I suppose.
Like, when I think about it, Aizawa actually really reminds me of, like, a teacher that I've had in the past. He was just kind of like, he was my homeroom teacher as well. He's just, like, really, like, chill about everything. And was just kind of like, yeah, this is your work. Go and do it. And then just kind of left us to our own devices.
Do we know what subject Aizawa teaches as well? And yeah, Maria, did you feel like, how did you feel in that kind of teaching experience? Like, it was just a pleasant time kind of thing?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if it's the best kind of attitude for good grades. I think if you wanted to get good grades, you'd have to work for it yourself. But this was all with, like, older students, a bit older than, like, what the class 1A is. What are they, like 15 or something? Yeah,
about 15.
Yeah, so you probably wouldn't see that level of maturity in those kind of students, so that obviously you need someone stricter than the teacher that I have, so...
Yeah, but I don't remember what he officially teaches, and as a homeroom teacher, like, he really can't do much with the kids other than instill some basic life values. But, like, that's not really something that would make him a great teacher, I think, in the end. But speaking of Season 3, though, Aizawa has given us a lot of really powerful moments, especially when it came to Bakugo, and we saw the culmination of that this season, when he told people live on TV that, hey, Bakugo's not gonna break on this.
Yeah, he definitely is able to understand people. He's one of those types of people as a character that can interact with someone and immediately know the type of personality and the responses that they're gonna elicit. And I think the very few times that he's been actually impressed is when they've actually defied those conventions, with Izuku in, like, the first season, where he's, like, showing that he's not gonna break his arm by doing basic stuff. So he definitely isn't one to lack confidence in other people. I do just feel he takes everything very simply, and that turns into at least it shows that he looks disinterested in things, and that's kind of why people get the vibe that he is a bad teacher. He's just mostly one that's like, I have no problem letting students fall on their face if they learn something from it, as long as they're not hurting themselves actually or hurting someone else by doing it.
I think that's probably what makes him better as, like, a homeroom teacher than a teacher of perhaps, like, a specific subject. But yeah, I think one thing that has been consistent about his character is that he does pick up on stuff about people that others wouldn't notice. Because, like, you know, like the whole thing you said about, like, they're doing, like, the first training and he has to stop Gecko from using his quirk, otherwise he'd break his arm. And then in the second season, there's, like, the Ochaco Bakugo fight, and he's like one of the only people who actually, like, stands up for Uraraka as she's fighting Bakugo, and then, like, later still when he stands up for Bakugo, so it's like...
Then he takes the dive from
Momo. One
of
those things about him.
Yeah, he takes the dive from Momo, yeah.
So,
yeah, he definitely has a lot of integrity, and it's funny, too, because Aizawa's, like, the kind of hero who's so pragmatic that he is okay doing negotiations with, like, small criminals if it gets him to bust a bigger scheme or something. It's just really funny to think of him as that kind of character. But that kind of character ends up understanding people more, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna read through some of the comments that we're getting. You guys feel free to keep talking.
Yeah, everyone go see Venom. I'm just gonna throw that out. That's gonna be my plug. Like,
all right, well,
even
if you're gonna
it's
plug
not
Venom,
a good
I'm gonna
movie,
plug
it's okay.
Aquaman. The movie I'm suggesting isn't even out yet.
Oh yeah, I would plug that too.
Aquaman has always been the worst superhero.
The only issue I had with the trailer is that a lot of it looked too much like a video game. That is the only issue I had with a lot of it. I think it was shot well. I think a lot of the comedy, and this is from the extended trailer. There's like a 5+ minute long extended trailer, and everyone should watch that. But it's the funny scenes are funny when the characters are actually interacting. It's good, but then just a lot of like the digital effects and how things are done as far as camera work and stuff. It's just like, all right, this feels like Aquaman for Xbox One, PlayStation 4.
I think his costume looks silly.
Oh, beat you
just
within an inch of your life.
That's Aquaman though. If he wears it, he's only gonna wear it for like a scene. Like they won't make it a long-term thing.
I hope they make, like, halfway in the movie, he puts on that costume, he wears it for the rest of the movie.
I hope he doesn't wear that costume.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it is still DC Warner Brothers, so you could be 100% right, and I wouldn't be surprised. This is a company not known for their great decisions.
Season 3?
Does the movie count as Season 3?
Yeah, I'd say.
Doesn't it happens before Season 3?
Yeah, I'd say it counts.
Guess?
I think, yeah, it happens right before they go to summer camp. So I think that counts as Season 3, especially because it came up with the Season 3 released. Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, All Might still has his power in it, so yeah. I mean, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is the movie canon? Because Horikoshi released that tie-in manga.
It can be canon.
It's canon when he feels like it is.
Yeah, this is how I feel about the newest One Piece movies. They're as canon as the author tries to make them as canon as possible. Which that doesn't necessarily mean they're actually canon, but definitely elements of the movie could still be introduced later and then still be expected to be understood as canon.
So they're soft canon, so they're canon until proven otherwise. Until contradicted in the story.
Pretty much. Exactly. And you could also disregard it as canon and it wouldn't change much because the movie doesn't add anything new. It just shows you cool scenes, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the movie exists to look good.
Yeah, and could give fan service. The fact that it can be canon is just a nice bonus on the side.
Anyone here actually seen the movie? Or?
I have.
Skelly, how did you find it?
Okay, so first of all, I know this guy in Japan. Anyway, so he goes to the movie. He somehow gets his cell phone in there. Anyway, he streams the entire movie from his cell phone.
Nice.
So that's how I saw it.
I just hope the movie is canon for particular scenes with two characters that I enjoy. I'm not gonna say specifically what it is, but you know.
I don't. Whatever, man. Watch your garbage.
Okay, that was aggressive. Anywho,
it is incredibly illegal.
Well, like the things that we all do. Like, I'm not gonna say we all do illegal things, but whatever.
Trip. I'm ashamed of you.
I don't do illegal things. Anyway. People were asking a lot about the author's ability to show multiple characters because we were talking about Class 1A. Do we have any thoughts about that? Because I don't think this season any characters got any kind of spotlight. Aside from Momo in that one filler episode. But I don't think anyone that hasn't had the spotlight before got it.
Okay. Huge confession, I haven't watched any of Season 3 at all.
It's okay, you saw the manga.
Did Aoyama get his scene?
Whoa.
What?
Hey, why don't you watch anime? You're such a scrub. Stop reading.
You're talking about the first half?
Yeah,
during the
half.
forest? Yes.
Well, no, I was talking about the provisional license exam.
What about it?
His confession to Ida about feeling useless.
Yeah.
Yes. That does happen.
Oh yeah, I guess would you call that a spotlight?
Great.
Yes.
In the manga.
Yeah,
I have no idea what happened in the anime.
No, it pretty much went the same way. That was a great moment. I always forget Aoyama. This is a consistent thing with me. But yeah, I guess that's kind of a spotlight. I mean, go for it, Maria.
Well, that's another hard thing to break apart from how chapters are released versus the content of an anime where the pacing is different. Because in that particular chapter, I could see that being a strong moment. In that current episode, though, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, I feel useless, and then he does a thing, and then he's not useless, and like the pacing is such different from the source material that it doesn't have the impact it should,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of. If I had to summarize season 3, that's a lot of season 3. Is that a lot of the pacing to make the impacts stronger for each big moment don't translate as well as they could have.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Maria, what were you gonna say?
I don't know if it's really like relevant to like the season as much, but it is the thing with Aoyama does tie in with. I think he gets like a chapter later in the manga that's a bit more dedicated, which was interesting because I didn't really remember much about him in the license exam until I watched the anime, and I was like, oh yeah, he has this moment.
And I think that kind of feeling is what separates it from me to say that someone got a spotlight, because like the Aoyama chapter that we get way later in the manga, so it's not a spoiler, so no one's gonna be spoiled. That Aoyama chapter is so impactful, and it set the community ablaze for the week that it was released. That's what I consider like a spotlight chapter. And also, speaking of spotlights, actually thinking about it now, Twice got his spotlight this season because he had to introduce Overhaul. I thought,
yeah, he got like half an episode. I was like, damn, dude.
He deserves it. He deserves it.
Super popular villain.
Yeah, I really love that. That was really cool. So I guess within Class 1A, we did have some movements, but I think the Twice episode was probably one of the biggest spotlights for a smaller character.
For what was basically a minor villain, like he gets to narrate half an episode. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really nice whenever you can see that the villains can carry episodes like that.
Well, it's definitely Horikoshi's talent too, as far as like his ability. Because I mean, like they do set up the introduction of all these the rise in villainy because All Might's disappearance, but the way they make that character carry the scenes the way he does, and it's a lot of quality work from the voice actor too, and everything. Just it's a much stronger episode.
Agreed. It was definitely a good move on their part to put that in. What are we doing here?
It was that episode in the license exam that was a bit more filler than the rest of them. It covered, I think, Momo and her group and Todoroki, which I don't think was shown in the manga. So what did people think about that?
Yeah, that didn't exist. Todoroki fought a bunch of ninjas, and Momo fought the girl who drinks tea to get really smart.
Hey. Psycho and Tully is one of the best girls introduced in filler.
She's super cute, but I do know this because I had asked like every single person I know if the twin tail person from the manga exists in the anime. She shows up less in the anime than she did in the manga, and she's in the manga for like 3 panels. That's so disappointing for me.
Which one? The twin-tailed?
Yes, she shows up. She can control her hair. She shows up for 3 panels in the manga at that part.
Okay.
She exists for not even a second in the anime.
Okay, I think I might remember who you're referring to.
At least we got Psycho, so it's a fair trade.
Oh, I'm going to answer a quick question here. Someone was asking if there was a panel in the manga where Dabi was burning other villains. Yes, that did exist in the manga. It was a pretty edgy panel. Anyway, there was also
the League of Villain doesn't need plebs like you or something like that.
Yeah, it was a pretty extreme panel. But looking at another question, someone was asking about Shoji and hoping that Shoji gets attention in the future. I guess this season introduced Shoji officially because he got a little bit to do this time with Tokoyami. But just for that person, we also know that Shoji's getting a arc in the future. We know that the author wants to write about it, so we know that's coming eventually. But yeah, I thought Shoji getting something this... When I was reading it in the manga, I thought that was a really nice surprise.
I think out of everyone in that class, though, Shoji definitely stands head and shoulders, literally. And then just based on his appearance, like he carries himself a lot differently than everyone else in the class. That definitely leads the author to wanting to explore a character more, as opposed to some of the more eccentric characters who we've already got to know. in the class.
Yeah. Although after what? Oh yeah, Maria, go for it.
Just thinking, now that you mention it, Tokoyami also had would you call it a spotlight a bit? Back within the forest where he lost control of Dark Shadow.
Yeah, yeah, I'd call that a spotlight, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just one of my favorite side characters, so like getting to see that animated, I was pretty hyped for.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just to know that his ability doesn't limit at what we've seen him do for the first 2 seasons, because the first 2 seasons you see Dark Shadow and he's just kind of like telling it what to do and it just does stuff. But then to kind of find out like if he's if Dark Shadow can control him,
manages to decimate this villain that like both Todoroki and Bakugo were struggling with for so long, and then
like when they found out.
Oh my god, an RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, when
that man had a family.
Yeah, Compress found out about it. He was like, okay, this character became a priority for us to also abduct. Like, Tokoyami proved himself that quickly to the League of Villains, or at least to someone who had a decision-making factor, that it became an important part of their plan.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that Tokoyami keeps getting these distinctions because it comes to fruition later in the manga. But
he did get 3rd place in the sports festival, so definitely.
Mm-hmm. Wait.
Zach, can I present you?
Oh, 1 second, Ali. Is this people are asking about the Traitor, and I totally want to segue into that, but go with your thing, Ali, and then we'll go into that.
Oh, it's really quick. Wait. What about Dark Shadow X the symbiote from Venom? That's a ship.
That's kind of overkill.
Here's the thing. Can the symbiote combine with Dark Shadow? Dark Shadow is a shadow.
Yeah, so based on the movie, at least, and I know this isn't per like actual comic book logic or comic book knowledge or whatever, but per the movie, it requires a living host, so it requires all the organs and all the functioning stuff, and then it also has to eat living things. So it couldn't combine with Dark Shadow, but Venom could technically combine with Tokoyami, and then you could have a Venom Tokoyami with a Dark Shadow.
You have like a 3-way control thing going on then.
Yeah, that'd be way too intense.
No. Would there be another symbiote Dark Shadow? Because it's in symbiosis with Tokoyami.
I mean, then you're trying to... There's like 17 trains of logic converging on a single point, and I can't give an actual answer to that because I don't think there is an actual answer to that.
I was gonna say throw in
way too complicated.
Throw in Vanta in there from the manga, and then we can really have a good conversation about who's in control.
Is he the guy that's all shadow? Like that's all like black?
Oh, I can't
from 1B.
Yeah, we can't confirm who he is though, to keep the spoilers under control.
Okay.
Okay,
anyway,
so
you can talk about the Traitor thing.
I mean, he was in the sports festival, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Kuroi,
I think, something like that.
Sai.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going to set up what we're going to talk about, because there's a lot of questions here. I guess we can go into quick Traitor theory, because people are asking about that. And then, I want to finish something out with Tokoyami. It was another one of those things that you said, Zach, where it's... it wasn't executed all that well in the anime. I thought that the Tokoyami moment was kind of underwhelming. Especially the part where it reveals that he's as the monstrosity, that he's being controlled. I would have loved to have had that expanded even a little bit more. It just felt underwhelming.
Yeah,
anyway, people are asking about the Traitor theories, and I got a crazy one here, and it involves Shoji, right? Because like in this anime season, we saw Shoji create like a network or a tree of ears during the provisional license exam, and somehow from this guy, they managed to kidnap Bakugo and Tokoyami. So I'm thinking, given that this guy can produce so many sensory organs, the fact that he didn't have eyes looking behind them when they were running through the woods tells me that he let Bakugo and Tokoyami get taken away. I think he's the traitor.
That's a pretty good theory.
That's so rude. Shoji is pure.
I've definitely heard it before. I've heard other stuff that kind of lends itself to that too.
I mean, my other
I think we already established that the author doesn't have very great continuity, so there's also that.
Oh yeah, I agree. But
right, look,
you know,
he's the youngest one in class. He's just a child compared to the others.
That's not a child.
Admittedly, Mustard was also a child, and he attempted to shoot a student. So
yeah.
I mean, right now I'm looking at the wiki. His age is 15, which is pretty much the same as everyone else's age.
Yeah, but he's the youngest.
Even then, so I'm just looking at, because they introduce his stats, or based on the character book. His intelligence is a C, so like it's 3 out of 5, which means that he kind of isn't really he doesn't think of stuff on his own until prompted to or in necessity to do so. So it could definitely be a situation where, like, if someone like Momo or even Todoroki wasn't in a panic situation, would have been like, hey, make sure we don't get snuck up on, and then it probably would have gotten taken care of.
That's a good point, but I just feel like it's strange that they specifically say that he is the one that's good at keeping track of things, and he was specifically asked to make sure that they don't run into villains. It's just odd that they didn't cover their bases. That's the only thing that really bothered me about the whole thing. Because before that,
Oh,
yeah, what were you saying, Maria?
What? I can't quite remember. Was he actually using any extendages or whatever, in the manga?
Well, he was injured.
Yeah, but
was he carrying Deku?
He was.
I think he was holding no.
So he's carrying Deku, and he was actually injured. Like, Deku noticed the injury on him as soon as he found him.
Yeah, but then he also told us that he's losing blood, but it's not an important injury because he can just replicate another arm up. It's just, given his capabilities, I just found it weird, because before that, my only reason for him being the traitor was that his hero costume looks like a clown's costume, and clowns can't be trusted. That's my only logic before that scene.
This is why Joker is the worst villain ever. I love clowns, and because of him, I'm not allowed to love clowns anymore.
Sorry, Ali, did you say something?
I said Black Manta is the worst villain ever.
Oh.
I'm not going to mention a single thing. Your opinions are garbage. All right. Okay. Wildcard Traitor theory. Everyone who doesn't currently have a backstory is the traitor.
All right.
Everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, that's still too vague. I'm at a point now, after reading and then watching the series so much, I don't even think there's a traitor anymore.
Yeah.
The endless climb and looking for the traitor is exhausting. And every time you think you might have had the right one, Horikoshi writes them out as this guy couldn't be the traitor. Because you know what's going to happen in season 4. Everyone, at least hopefully all of us in this chat, knows at the conclusion of the next big arc which character that Horikoshi played into being the traitor for 2 or 3 chapters, and then it became nothing. And then it's just oh, okay, well, if this is how he's going to constantly write these characters, I don't want to even guess who the traitor is anymore.
I feel
I'm just kind of waiting and seeing who the traitor is.
Honestly, given that All for One exists, there's realistic ways where All for One can just get the information himself, and there doesn't need to be a traitor. And even before that,
I mean, they're the easy stuff. It's Toru, because she wasn't there the day Shigaraki broke in. She wasn't in class. No one knows where she was.
But that's...
Well, she wasn't in the day of the vote for class president or something.
Yeah,
weird.
Which is the same day that Shigaraki broke in.
Well, the day he broke in, she was there, but she says she gets teleported to where Todoroki's fighting. And then Todoroki's like, well, I froze everything there, so I'm surprised you didn't get frozen. Which is kind of red flag number 1. And then red flag number 2 is where she starts talking about, I was like, oh, wow, tail guy, I saw you fighting those dudes off in the fire area, and that was impressive. Well, those are 2 different completely areas, so where were you? Her stories are the least... it's really hard to corroborate where Hagakure actually is, but that's also kind of the problem with a character like her, that she just kind of disappears because that's what she's supposed to do. And
that's kind of one of my problems with her being a traitor, is just because Shinzo exists and his whole life was about being discriminated against because he had a quirk that could be used for villainy. And then if the author goes and makes Hagakure the villain, that feels like what the ultimate message is that yes, some people who have villainous quirks are totally going to be villains.
That's why the big twist is Shinzo is also the traitor. Who is lying. It's a double play.
Could be interesting to actually have like Shinzo and Hagakure to like face off. If she was the traitor, like have them like face off and have that parallel between like someone who was always told that he would be a villain because of his quirk, and then someone who is actually a villain because of their quirk. That would be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting. I would love it if UA ultimately uses Shinzo as the traitor detector and just has him suss out who the traitor is just by interviewing all the children while Shinzo is around.
Well, I think that's actually going to happen soon in the manga.
No, didn't they come... Oh, no, spoilers.
What were you gonna talk about limitations to his quirk, Skelly? Is
yes.
That where you? Nah, I think that they can work around it by having the kids do specific actions in response to a question. I think they could configure it if they really needed to make it look like they were using Shinzo for that. What were you? Well, someone else was going to say something.
I still think it's going to happen very soon in the manga anyways. I think looking at the final team fight in the manga in the current arc with the teams that are set up, especially with who's in Class B on Shinso's team and then who's in Class A, I think there's going to come to a head and something important is going to be revealed.
Okay, that's a pretty.
My money, if there is a traitor, it is Nato Monoma from Class 1B.
Because he's sketchy.
And I feel like everything else has been a red herring. So that's just my gut. He's the guy who has the copy ability. Yep. Because everyone's such in an eager rush to make Deku the son of One for All. I think that Nato is the son of One for All.
I mean,
we're all for one.
He's the only other person that can have multiple quirks at one time.
And I think that as a... So, here's my hook. I'm just going to throw this hook in here. So, as a villain leader, I would send my... Either Nato doesn't know, or Nato knows and just is that good about keeping it under wraps. He goes to a school where he's around all the same age as all the other heroes that are his age. So he immediately has access to the knowledge and information of everyone he's ever going to have to deal with as a villain. You know, like all these other students are going to grow up and be heroes in his era where he's going to be effectively the lead villain.
Yeah.
So that immediately gives him a huge access of information to everybody. It also gives him a free buffet of everybody's ability. So he can try out everyone's ability with his copycat quirk. And then if it's, if he can use it to his advantage or use it to his effectiveness, that's great. And then he has an idea of what he wants to keep. Just long term. I think as far as like, if they actually push for it to actually come to fruition, I can't guarantee that. But I just like the idea that this is the smartest play any villain could make, from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Collecting information is what I would do if I was a villain. It's just...
I mean, he also does it perfectly. Who would suspect the guy who's such an idiot about Class A and Class B is actually a supervillain?
Yeah, and that's...
egomaniacal dude.
And that's why people say Kaminari's the villain, because that would be the same kind of effect.
How could Discount Saitama with hair be the villain?
I think Aizawa was the traitor.
I mean, he's the traitor.
I mean, he's pragmatic enough. He could be. He's sketchy.
Yeah, but then that brings a lot of why, and that's kind of why I wanted to put out Monoma, because Monoma answers a lot of whys, but doesn't really answer any of the other W questions.
Mm-hmm.
But Aizawa could answer a couple of, like, okay, well, he's kind of a loner. He kind of just wants to do stuff, but it doesn't really answer whys. I look for the why. That's kind of why I don't see Aizawa as a character that would give away information. He kind of wants to be left alone to sleep and be with his cats or whatever.
Yeah. Man,
to be honest, since Aoyama got his highlight chapter later in the manga, I've decided that I wouldn't be surprised if he turned out to be the traitor. If they suddenly brought his character in to then just be like, hey, he's a traitor, I wouldn't be surprised.
My only catch with Aoyama is that you have seen at least someone in his family. That's the only catch I have with him.
That's my catch too. Once you see someone in their, and I think we saw his family this season. It's just a family makes it so much harder to imagine him being the traitor, because you can't say he came from a bad childhood.
All right, can I just interrupt with if Eraserhead uses Quirk on Invisible Girl, he can't because he can't see her.
Yeah, we don't know how that Quirk would interact.
I mean, so the hardest part about Eraserhead is his quirk, is how it works. Because the idea is that so his eyes glow red and his hair stands up, and that implies that he's shooting
everything around him floats.
It's some kind of EMF infrared type deal. He's emitting some type of signal or emission. So he doesn't necessarily have
radiation.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily have to see her physically with a normal spectrum of vision, but if he's looking at her in his direction, he should be able to effectively work against her, because once the radiation that he's emitting hits her, it should immediately react to her brain, to her quirk system, whatever that is, and then
doesn't she?
And again, depending on effort, is her quirk a mutation though? That's the question.
Man,
wouldn't her invisibility work by refracting light around her? So would that radiation be affected by her quirk and end up not hitting her because of it?
My problem is, why is her quirk a mutation quirk? That's my biggest problem.
Well, no, her
I definitely want to go into this.
Refracting the light that passes through her, while her mutation is being invisible. Tsuyu looks like that, but her quirk is having all these frog powers on top of it.
Okay, I definitely want to get into this, because I think this is the classification system for quirks doesn't work anymore, because I think Toru breaks it too much, because that refraction thing, that doesn't feel like something that should be classified under a mutation. Technically, because she's technically emitting light.
Also, she's not emitting light, she's changing the, what is it?
Yeah,
performance of the light that passes through her.
So would you still say that's
because she used that special move in the
license exam?
In the license exam, where she blinded a whole bunch of people. Wouldn't that just be taking the surrounding light and just focusing it kind of specifically?
Well, my question is, at what point do we call that a mutation? Because for Bakugo, what he does, he drinks water. The water goes to his sweat glands, and at his sweat glands, it changes the composition of the sweat to create the explosions. Yet his quirk is under emission, because we're seeing the after effect of that whole chemical process or biological process. Whereas this girl is taking light into her system, she's doing something weird with it within her body, and then she's re-emitting it out from her body. That's what I don't really understand or not understand, but that's where the classifications for the system kind of fall apart for me. Because I think by the logic of Bakugo, that is technically an emission. I think
technically they're all mutations, though.
Yes, agreed.
Well, I mean, I agree they're all mutations, but there's clear differences between the tail guy. I can't remember his name.
Ochaco.
And then Shoji. So I mean, it's the difference between having an ability that you're constantly afflicted by versus an ability that you can either emit or some type of your physiology enables you to do something different with that power. She just is invisible all the time.
I wonder why.
More of a constant thing.
Who was talking just now? Who said I want to know why? Okay, no one?
It was incredibly loud. It spooked me.
Yeah, alright. Anyway, yeah.
Loud?
Oh, it's Carno Dragon. Okay, any hoosers. Toru, yeah.
Okay, so everyone's a mutant. Like, they all have some sort of mutation. Bakugo's is he sweats nitroglycerin.
Out of his palms.
Yes. But his emission part is he can ignite it at will, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is the same as Ida's, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Like, Ida has the physical mutation of having the engines in his legs, but the ability to use that is also part of the quirk.
Yeah, man, he turns orange juice into, like, jet fuel or something.
But with the complication of Toru's is, like, so she's always... Like, her ability is... Her quirk is a constant, and it's just weird.
Yeah, but...
Just put one on now.
Okay. Anyway, the thing with Toru, just... She can turn on the light refraction part, like, she can control that by will. And so, that makes me feel like it fits the criteria for the emission part. Except for the, like, the secondary thing with her body. I feel it's like the same thing with Mina. Mina has, like, those horns on her head. I feel like that's the level at what Toru's invisible body is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely separate mutation from what she does, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Though her one is necessary to what she does.
Yeah. I'm just reading through the comments real quick here.
I'm bored.
Alright, well, Carno, do you have anything to add to this discussion?
No.
Alright, you're muted.
We can just mute him, yeah, it's not a big deal. Any hoosers. Yeah, overall, we got to see Toru's power this season, that was cool. I'm not sure what else we have for Toru, although I just remembered something. We were talking about Mirio's, how was it? Mirio's like little writing things, but you know, Aizawa's quirk got changed throughout the course of Hero Academia, and we see it in season 4, but it's not a big spoiler. But you remember how Aizawa said he couldn't affect the mutant types, whereas when you go into the explanation that he gives during season 4, pretty much, he says he can affect the mutant types. It's just he affects them in a different way. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's like
I suppose it doesn't affect like the purely physiological stuff about them.
Yes, but it affects
like,
their ability.
Koda will still be made of rock.
Their ability to control it, I think.
Yeah, the ability to control it is what gets impaired. I just thought that was an interesting development
will
for
still
his
have
power.
2 tons of muscle coming out of his butt.
Yeah, but he just can't move it. Someone here is asking.
So weird though, because technically that's just like would be the same as having an extra arm or something, but then to not be able to move it.
That would suck. That would really suck.
Lots of questions about Monoma in there.
Yeah, there's some questions about Monoma about just asking if he copied One for All's quirk, which one would he copy? Could he choose? I think he'd have to copy the basic One for All quirk, and then he'd probably get a package, maybe.
I mean, are they talking about All for One or One for All?
One for All.
That's okay. So I mean, I definitely expect upcoming in the manga that he will use his copy ability to copy Izuku, which is something we haven't seen yet. Which means you guys should start reading it if you haven't read it, or just stand by for the season 5, because I don't think this current part will be in season 4. So if he did copy Izuku, and we'll see that soon, and we'll be able to talk about it soon, I think he's probably just going to hurt himself, because that's what we saw from Izuku when he was using it.
I mean, but would it have
if
any of the stockpile?
Yeah, I don't know if he'd get the stockpile.
I don't know.
Question. Like,
I think the
Doesn't his quirk
stockpile
only
is
last 5 minutes or something? Like, he can only copy someone's quirk for like 5 minutes. So even if he did copy it, wouldn't it still run out?
probably, but I don't really.
it wouldn't unbreak his bones.
And here's gonna be another thing too, is that this will be like the first time Horikoshi, I think, will actually have to write about it, and then we'll actually get to see that from the artist, like the actual author's perspective, other than speculation.
Yeah, I think
based on what we've seen and how he does write, I think he'll show that Monoma is going to have some limited ability of one for all at first as a minimum. Maybe not like to anywhere near the extent of Izuku, but it'll be just enough to show that someone else can copy it.
I think it's possible that
like.
I think the best indication of if he gains any mastery at all would be him copying Kirishima's quirk, and how Kirishima couldn't control his quirk until just before entering UA.
Well, I mean, he did copy Kirishima's quirk.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. And Kirishima had little to no control until just before entering UA. So he mastered Kirishima's quirk way faster than he did.
Yeah.
Than Kirishima did.
So I mean, that's kind of just what I expect from Monoma. Is that Monoma is going to be a character that breaks a lot of current logic for the author's convenience.
I agree.
As a minimum. So
I think like he could.
It's really hard to talk about that character.
He could introduce a writing error. I think he's the most likely one to introduce writing errors, because
yes. Which is also why I think he would be a great villain, because that would conveniently help you blow past all the writer's errors. He just is that type of character to do that.
Yeah, because I feel like one other thing
I feel like
that
he must also be the kind of.
Go for it, Maria.
Sorry. I feel like he must be like the kind of character who must take notes on people's quirks. Like, I know we've never seen him do such a thing, but I feel like if you have a quirk like that and you have to know how to control it, you would be someone who'd be scouting out the quirks around you, and trying to work out how to use them, so that when you do end up fighting that person in a fight, you can use their quirk against them.
Yeah. The other thing,
just looking at
that, I just want to quickly though. One for All has the will component where if Izuku doesn't want it to be passed, it can't be passed, or it can't be stolen. So I wonder if copying falls under stealing.
Is piracy stealing? That's the big question here.
I mean, this is gonna be the hardest thing to answer too, like as far as where it's gonna go soon.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if it gets denied per what we're gonna read within the next 10 chapters or so, then we have our answer.
Yeah. Although I
really don't think any of us can actually answer that.
No, we can't.
Not
we can
something
just
defined.
We can guess, but I really do think Monoma might just be like, I don't want to break my bones, and he might, if he ever ran into Izuku, he might legitimately just say, I'm not copying your quirk. It's going to kill me. I think he might just think that's gonna happen. So
I mean, here, I hate to actually like kind of spoil the setup, but you look at the team that Izuku's on. It's Izuku.
Oh, don't say it. I'll look at the picture. You don't have to say it online.
So with Izuku and the 3 other members on his team, who would you copy as far as ability wise? Like,
dang it.
There's legitimately no one Monoma would want to copy other than Izuku, in my opinion.
Well, there is one other person, but like their suit covers almost all of their skin.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. And even then, that's situational.
Oh.
I think Izuku has the most, and here's another thing. So, again, going back to like these official character books, and they have all these character stat lines or whatever out of 5. Monoma has a stat line of 1 in power, 1 in speed. His technique and intelligence is at 5, and his cooperativeness is in 4. Monoma needs to copy abilities that increases power and increases speed. That's what he needs to be successful. lo and behold, in the upcoming chapters, he's going to have a character where out of all the other members of the team that he can copy abilities from, he should be like, all right, I need to copy that guy's power and speed. And that happens to be Izuku. So it kind of sets itself up that way.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think the last time you saw Izuku use his power, he was still breaking his bones.
Yes.
Depends on what he decides to do, I guess.
I mean, there was the TV, Okay, so we're going full into manga spoilers now, right? Are we?
I don't want to. I think we could still talk about anime stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
The original question was I think someone was also asking how would it work for All for One if Monoma touched All for One.
Would he take the steal, or would he take one random quirk that All for One has?
So, in my opinion, and this is how I would set it up, eventually he will copy All for One, and then he will just have All for One.
He'll copy it, and then he'll steal it.
Effectively, but it basically will just double down. He won't need to copy it and then steal it again. He'll just have it. Or if he does steal it, he'll steal it, and then All for One will just be dead, and then NATO will effectively be the new All for One. I mean that's how I see things playing out.
There must be limitations on his quirk that prevent him from doing that.
Well, no, you see, the fact is there's only one quirk that lets you steal quirks. I mean, like, there's no, like, law book that quirks sort of organize about what quirks can and can't do.
I mean, I think that's just the uniqueness of NATO Monoma and how his character has played out so far, too. I think, like, you set up this deception that this character is just kind of an aloof jerk, and then all of a sudden it's just like he makes a couple of really big plays and no one saw it coming. Like, I think that would be really impactful as far as where the story would go. And it'd be villainous. Like, I think that as far as the villains we've seen, they're kind of underwhelming. They're very predictable villains. Except for like the few, like I think when Shigaraki went after Overhaul, blah blah blah. Yeah. I
got it. Got it. We got it.
I mean, like, yeah.
Cut. Abort.
Yeah. And back out.
It's okay. We got it. We got him in time.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out, just very quickly, just on the Monoma thing, someone pointed out, H Magnum pointed out that he could also copy his comrades if he was in a team-like situation for some reason, right? He wouldn't have to just be beholden to the other side. But I think he has such an ego that I could see him going for it.
Well, no, we've seen in the, what's it called? In the horse race,
Cavalry
whatever?
battle?
Yeah, cavalry battle. He was completely fine with taking his own team's quirks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think since he wants to prove that, like, this has been his thing forever. He wants to prove Class B is better than Class A. So he's not going to take any Class A quirks. Why would he need them? His class is so much better.
I mean,
yeah.
Kirishima's quirk in the
And he used Bakugo's quirk too.
Oh, but that's before he like really got down his rabbit hole of wanting to be better than Class 1A.
Well, I mean, that happened a bit later. First, he was just kind of like, oh, wow, Class 1A is a bunch of jerks. And then he's what he is now.
Into madness.
Dude's insane. Dude's a freak.
I wanna help out someone in the comments. They're asking where do they buy some My Hero Academia merch because Hot Topics in Canada are always sold out. I'd say buy it online. Oh, Prower's here! Nice. But yeah, I'd say buy it online.
Yeah. I'm not kidding.
They have a lot of stuff.
Online, any sort you might find something like that in a comic book store if there are any nearby, but yeah, it would be best online.
Yeah, I agree. Online.
Right, you find the last person who bought it. You mug them, and you take it.
Okay. Okay.
This is in New Zealand. We're a civilized society.
Yo, Prower, because you just jumped on, what was your favorite moment from Season 3?
Went as predicted, but the All for One versus All Might match. I knew that would be my favorite moment. and it certainly did not disappoint. I know for a fact I went and looked at many different reactions to it as well, just to see if other people who had different viewpoints than me felt similar or differently, and a lot of them got more emotional than I did.
Emotional, really? I mean, like,
yes.
It did have emotional, like, strong emotional notes. I think I'm just jaded. I think I'm a miserable guy now. I think that's,
okay. So
I think that's what's happening.
I haven't watched like any of the scenes going into it or after it. I saw the fight.
Yeah.
And I thought the only part of the fight, this is the fight in isolation.
Yeah.
To it. Is the only emotion is at the end, where it's not even All Might and All for One at this point. It's Izuku and Bakugo.
Yeah.
Like where you have Izuku breaking down because All Might's over.
Yeah, the party's done. Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, that was a strong emotional moment.
I think I quite liked the bit where like everyone rallies to back All Might, but I mean I liked that bit of the manga, so like
yeah, I understand.
I didn't get anything extra from it being animated.
I think that was the problem with me too. Like Zach said it before, the manga might have done intense moments better, and that took knowing what's gonna happen does kind of take away a little bit of the viewing experience. Someone's asking what were our most heartbreaking moments of season 3. Heartbreaking.
The bit at the absolute beginning where Class A is just finished, and then it's like, we're going to introduce Class B's quirks, and then we don't care. I'm like, that broke my heart.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that sucked.
Oh, it sucked was having to watch essentially a clip show to start the season off. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I was like, what's with this filler?
I think we can all agree, like, the first episode was the most heartbreaking.
Yeah, we talked about the beginning of the stream where like the recap episode definitely should not happen for season 4 based on how they ended season 3. Like they need to just hit season 4 entirely exactly where season 3 leaves off at.
Yeah, pretty much agreed. Hopefully no more
check
recap
a whole lot of
episodes.
flashbacks.
Yeah, it should also start off with Overhaul pulling out Blue Eyes White Dragon, because again, his Japanese voice is the same as Seto Kaiba.
Oh, that's a nice factoid. Thanks.
Yeah, I just find that a fun fact.
Oh, you know, we haven't really...
The dragon...
We haven't really
Dragon Hero shows up.
Yeah.
Overhaul will be like, she's mine.
Okay.
We haven't
one thing I did...
Yeah, go for it, Maria.
Like about season... Huh?
Go for it.
Sorry. I like about season 3 was the Bakugo Deku fight. At the end, yeah, I quite liked the voice acting in it and the animation. Like just seeing that whole fight animated, I really enjoyed that episode.
Yeah, it was the best fight of the season when it comes to the animation for sure.
Yeah, choreography wise as well. Yeah.
I would so like even a thing that we're probably going to discuss more in depth in the later podcast or something. And it came to best fight, I had a hard time not putting it among nominees, but the All for One versus All Might fight actually had, in my opinion, more of an impact for the series as a whole, and that's what ultimately made me decide that over Mbako versus Izuku when it came to the nomination. Okay,
I see what you're saying. I get that the All Might One for All fight is more impactful, but I like Bakugo versus Izuku more. It was just a more intimate fight, and it just they aren't so overpowered, and so there was still a lot of cool choreography in it.
Yeah, I agree. It was I liked the fight more, especially when it came to the animation and choreography was better. It would be hard to argue that it was not more intimate for All for One versus All Might, considering their history and whatnot. But I just felt that fight had more of an impact.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I like that fight so much is because, like, it's not necessarily about saving like the whole world. It's just these two dudes like punching each other out because they can't handle their emotions. Like, it's a bit different from a lot of the fights that come so far.
You know, it does remind me though. It'd be nice if people could just talk out their problems. I mean,
there's always some
going to be a shonen anime.
I know, but it'd be nice if we could just talk out some problems without having to fight it out.
Okay, Minetta, let's talk about your problem with that sexual harassment. We'll talk it out, and then it'll all be solved.
Look, man, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If someone just told me, Nata, we're gonna report you to the police, I wouldn't say no to that. I'd think like, okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good move.
Look, man, I don't want to trap police in one spot for a day, because you know he's gonna make a break for it.
He'll find a way to use his sticky balls to get out.
Someone's asking about the pictures on the podcast right now, guys, and it's the picture that the last opening for this season.
Toru is looking at the screen too.
Yeah, and people are questioning about Kirishima and Mineta looking at the screen, and it's like, yeah, I think that's weird too. I don't know why it's happening. It's just something that happens, and I just accepted it.
I think Mineta's imagining what Toru looks like. Kirishima wonders what she's pointing at. That's just like my idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, Kirishima's a good boy.
Oh man, now that we're talking about Toru again, I remember what I was gonna say. If I had one absolute traitor, sorry that I'm kind of going back in the podcast here, but if I had one traitor, it's definitely either Hatsume Mei or someone in the support department. I've been saying it for a long time, but I'm still sticking with that one. Just because the girl has to get money from somewhere to be able to buy the stuff to work on the designs. It makes sense to me if she was doing dealings with the broker to get money to buy stuff.
No, they're paying her to build stuff. She doesn't care who's buying. She's just selling.
They seem to be providing money for her. And if they saw her just getting all these gadgets, they'd actually like. I feel like they'd question where she would be getting all that money. First of all,
to be fair, I don't think money has ever been a problem for anyone other than Ochaco in the series.
And even that question about her parents work in a construction company. How are you poor? Have you seen the ridiculous destruction done?
That's actually kind of a good point to make.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about Ochaco being the traitor. Nobody wants to talk about Ochaco being the traitor.
Well, that's actually one of the more popular traitor theories. Is Ochaco.
I agree. But no one wants to talk about Ochaco being the traitor.
I don't see, when it comes to Hatsume and all the equipment and everything, I would have figured that as long as it was being made for heroes and whatnot, UA would likely allow her to get the different supplies. Although, when it comes to her teacher, he's always trying to make sure she's not causing too much damage, which his efforts are often in vain. So yeah, I don't think that she has any sort of issues getting the equipment because UA is just providing it, and UA it seems to have an unlimited amount of funds.
No, that's totally fair. I'm just thinking about the girl before she went to UA. I wouldn't be surprised, is my general idea, if she ended up getting money from the broker in exchange for information. I wouldn't mind. And also for the support department, I just feel like it would be very smart of someone who works in making gadgets to supply both sides. I think that mentality makes sense. And it doesn't have to be Mei.
Meizuku, so I cannot go against Mei.
No, that's fair. It doesn't have to be Mei. But I'm just saying in general.
No, this is where your taste gets terrible. You can ship it, but when she's a villain, that makes it better. All right.
Yes.
I see May when it comes to pre-UA being a dumpster diver, similar to Peter Parker, in which you just find different machines that were just thrown away and use them for spare parts and make her own tech, but she wouldn't be able to really use them much at all because I'm pretty sure there's support license you also have to have, similar to hero licenses.
Yep.
Okay, someone's talking about Ochaco real quick, and they don't see why they'd go after Ochaco if Ochaco was the traitor. If that was the case, I just want to point something out. I don't think, if there is actually a traitor, I don't think Shigaraki's group knows who it is, because Shigaraki gave Toga commands to go after more than one person and try to get as much blood as she could, and she couldn't accomplish that goal, which tells me Shigaraki wants someone that on the inside more often. Like Toga can go inside and take someone else's position more often. It tells me that maybe he doesn't know who the traitor is and he's getting that information from the broker. That's how I rationalize that if we had to say Ochaco was the traitor. Wait 1 second, Prower. Okay, Prower, you saying something?
Okay. Yeah, and also I believe the traitor likely does not know about One for All, and when it comes to Izuku or whatnot, or they would have just likely been able to tell the broker, who would tell Shigaraki, and likely multiple members of the League of Villains.
Yeah, I agree with that.
True. Yeah, so that's one reason why I don't think it's traitor is someone like Nezu, or I just forgot the detective's name, but those who I've seen theories come up in which that they're highly suspected.
I mean, we know All for One knows who has One for All.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it could be that every old high-ranking member of the League of Villains or Villain Alliance or whatever knows, yeah, Izuku's the one with the quirk.
Shigaraki hasn't obviously been given this information from what it appears. He just thinks of that brat is really annoying and I want to kill him. If he realized he had the quirk given to him from All Might and he's supposed to become the next symbol of peace, his number one priority would be killing Izuku rather than just trying to go after the society or going after All Might like his original intention was. Because if he already knew that All Might didn't have much time left, then he would go after the person that would just start things up again, aka Izuku.
I have a feeling he doesn't know that he's going to get All for One from All for One. He just thinks All for One is gone now. I have to pick up the pieces he's left behind.
Yo, Prower, just because people are pointing it out, can you turn down your notification volume? Just putting it. Anyway.
I took care of it.
Cool. Thanks, man. Anywho.
Sorry about that, people.
Oh, no worries, man. Okay, what topics do we have left for Season 3 to talk about?
Well, I wasn't here for everything, but let's talk about the scarring Jiro had in the final episode. I'm trying to make a joke. Apparently.
The scarring she had. The scarring she had.
Video.
Oh.
Oh, mental scarring. I was completely
I was
lost.
like, what? Someone got beat up? I was like, okay, no, yeah,
I think they all got beat up.
I mean, they all got beat up, didn't they?
They handled it very well.
Todoroki just stood back and watched. Like,
As far as the animation goes, it was handled very well.
Yeah, Meteor's a force of nature.
Could have been done better, the animation. I'm just saying.
I think they pounded it all into Izuku versus Bakugo. So I don't think they had anything left after that.
I think it's appropriate that Mirio's fight scenes are badly animated because his quirk is badly thought out.
Wait, never mind. I think I not the animation particularly, but I think the directing when they're just having like regular talking scenes could be a little bit better because they just do the shot reverse shot, which isn't really interesting to look at. So I'd rather them do something like the way they
like
frame shots, just
actual dialogue shots.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
So I'm just looking at the shots that Julia put up on the channel. They're funny little pictures. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. The second one, you could find some pictures like that in the movie too.
Oh wait, you could find you can find smudge-like pictures in Hero Academia all over the place. It's been there since the first episode.
Like, there aren't a lot of anime that don't have, like, smudge shots, like, way in the background.
Yeah, it's just, it happens.
Yeah, that's unavoidable. Even Violet Evergarden had that.
Oh, wow. That's actually a strong statement.
Yeah, it's just that smudge shots, like, in the movie were extremely obvious, sadly. Like,
actually, the Legendary Gamer has a good point. Who got the most development this season? Probably Bakugo, easily.
Yeah, but that's not fair. Main characters always get development. We could talk about the fact that Ochaco doesn't really have development.
Ochaco got shafted.
Her only development is, oh, do I love Deku or not? Like,
which is like, that's fine, but I guess because she's a main character, I think
more is expected of her.
Yeah, but at the same time, it
but
feels
he sidelines all the female characters all the time, so I just kind of expected that from.
I know, which sucks because, like, for me, it feels like Ochaco is just so stable now as a character that she doesn't need to get developed. Like, what else is left for her? Unfortunately, she doesn't get those bigger than life plots like Todoroki and Bakugo get. She's just a little girl who's trying to grow up into a responsible hero, and she doesn't do any wrong, so she's largely stable.
It's too basic. That's the problem. She's just, there's nothing wrong, but at the same time there's nothing to impede her path that you don't think she's already going to overcome.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the development for her this season was based around Izuku. Whereas
she's like very serviceable as a character. Like, she's not terrible. Like, not even close, but she's not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's terrible. Like, this season, she had that moment where she beat up Toga. Or not beat up, but she subdued Toga. And that was pretty cool. Like, that was pretty cool because she had a solid character arc where she said she wanted to learn how to do close combat fighting. And she did that. She pulled it off. We just didn't really dwell on it.
I think that's part of the fast pace of Boku no Hero. When someone says, oh, I'm going to do something, they do it, and you move on.
Yeah. But then it just feels weird, because it feels like the boys get more time dwelling on them. Like, we dwelled on Inasa and Todoroki for so long about their problems.
Well, it's still a shonen series.
I'll go for it, Maria.
With the big three as well, is this spoilers? I don't know. I just feel like both Mirio and Tamaki get way more time than
oh yeah, I totally agree. That's
actually the only hope I get out of the anime.
Is that there's an anime original
they do
expansion?
Typically reserve a filler episode or so. They will
like,
expand.
Girls.
It's just, yeah, man. Like, when I pointed that out way back when during the manga arc, people got upset because they was like, oh no, don't worry, they're gonna do it better in the future. But it was the bigger problem was Mirio and Tamaki got unfair amounts of screen time compared to the kind of equal playing field that all three of them came in on. And I think that's
so much like backstory as well.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be something that's gonna consistently happen throughout Hero Academia. It's just the author can't develop all his characters at the same rate, and some characters are just always going to be low priority characters, whereas people like Bakugo, Todoroki, Izuku are going to be high priority. Also, I think Ida also got good development this season. He had his little thing with Aoyama, which was nice. I think it was slightly better than Ochaco's love declaration or love killing, whatever she did with her feelings.
She took it out back and blew its brains out with a shotgun. Or at least she tried.
She tried.
She made Toga proud.
Did she make? Oh, I guess in a way she did. Do we have any
now
other?
That you mention it,
yeah.
I think the beginning of season 3 was just so long ago that I've forgotten half the stuff. But yeah, when like Kirishima and Deku and stuff all come up with like this plan to like go off and rescue Bakugo. Like Ida's point of view was really like the only one I could really like connect with. Because this was literally coming off the back of like the Stain arc, and it was like you just had like this whole thing about how going off on your own is a bad idea, and then now you two are literally about to go off and like do this thing, and there's like no bad consequences for it because you're the main character. Like that was like the whole vibe I kind of got from that.
I think that's the effect that they want you to have. I think that was great. It's a good point. Like, yeah, I identified a lot with Ida during that sequence as well. And I think that's why Ida ultimately relates to Izuku better than Ochaco does, because Ida understands Izuku's thought process more than Ochaco does. Which is unfortunate, but it's what happens when you go down Ochaco's route of thinking about Izuku.
You know, she needs one of those necklaces, you know, with what would Izuku do?
No, man.
Like, I'd just like to add something that was like really interesting that I thought they should have expanded upon. You know when Toga was fighting Ochaco and she was talking about how when you think of someone that you admire too, you want to like try to be like them as much as you can.
Yeah.
That was a subversion of like how all the supporting characters in a shonen like series usually do that thing where they always say like, what would this person do? So I really liked how Toga like subverted that and tried to make it like creepy
and perverse.
Because let's be honest, it's kind of creepy. Well, like when you really think about it.
And that's Toga.
I mean, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Like, yeah, everyone always. Although I guess in Hero Academia, it's more like everyone's kind of on either Team Bakugo or Team Izuku. So it's Izuku and Bakugo being the ones that everyone wants to be like.
It's just interesting to see how like Toga kind of took that idea and just showed how someone could take it too far.
Yeah.
Likely.
Yeah, I think Toga can very easily, if she was ever given the opportunity, I think she could really easily carry an episode just based on how far she takes everything.
Yeah,
you know, she doesn't even need to be good. Like, all the people who waifu her or whatever watched the shit out of that episode anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could only imagine that I could see her in a fight against several different guards, and her using her abilities to turn into like liquid as soon as she would get shot, and then just turn around and dice them, disguise as another one of the soldiers, and it could be chaotic and be fun to see how great she can be fighting against an entire group.
I like
how crazy she is. Her moves probably be very unpredictable.
I like how people are talking about let's not bring ships in here, but I'm going to bring ships in here. Guys, who do you think were the best ships of Season 3?
Meizuku.
Meizuku? Okay.
Like, hands down. Like, they introduced him and her again. Nana. That scene was great.
Oh, yeah.
The number one hero deserves the number one support.
Okay. I respect that. I totally respect that. Skelly said All Might and Nana.
And Nano's already had a kid and everything, technically.
Okay, Skelly's just shitposting at this point.
Are you saying MILFs aren't hot? I'm disgusted with you, Prowler.
Oh, no.
Considering that she already... All Might during that time period.
All Might's too much of a good boy to be into MILFs. He's a very vanilla person.
All Might.
I think the best ship was obviously Aoyama and Mirror.
Oh, okay. Well, nah, Miss Jokanizawa was pretty on point this one.
Yeah.
Oh man, I completely forgot that happened this season.
Oh, you know what? I guess technically the Kirishima Bakugo bromance got its critical moment in this season, so that was good.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Oh, good times.
Oh, more like romance, not bromance. Well, whatever. That's just me.
I'm trying to be careful.
People are gonna be upset in season 4 about that one.
Oh man, I hope they do that particular sequence really, really well.
And I know a lot of people were really happy with the Jiro and Momo moment in the
filler
update ending. You know, the first ending of this season. Which
okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I think I recall.
In which that they had arms locked together with their backs against one another, and I forget which one of them was lifted in the air by the other, but they were laughing and seemed to have a good time.
In other words, they were doing something totally innocent that could be misconstrued.
Yes. A lot of people did misconstrue it and be like, "Oh yeah, my girls, yes. See, those two are having fun." With
all right. Let's move on. Miss Joke's name specifically comes from a home with smiles is gonna have lots of happiness or whatever. I forget. I've completely forgotten the saying, but I'm like, yes.
Okay. Cool stuff.
Yeah, wealth comes to a home that smiles. That's the one.
So do we have anything? Do we have anything else for season 3 that we want to talk about? Okay, good. Everyone is quiet.
I haven't watched the season. I can't say.
Oh, it's okay, Skelly. Your color commentary. It's cool.
I mean, there is something I want to talk about if no one has anything to say.
Yeah, go for it, man.
We got for the third opening, or that'd be the second opening of season 3.
Okay.
So that'd be like the 5th.
Yes.
Make my story.
5th opening, they actually got a really cool animator called he's called Ryo Chimo, and he's like really well known for he did web animations like since he was in high school. So like this is the first time directing an anime opening.
Really?
So just shout out to him.
Cool.
Whoa, that's
good for him.
Like, he worked on a lot of like Masaki Yuasa shows and a lot of Mamoru Hosoda films, like Wolf Children, Girl Who Leapt Through Time, things like that. So it's pretty cool.
Neat. That's really neat.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the best animated openings, probably of a lot of other animes I've seen.
He's like super talented. Like he's been doing animations since high school, and if you look up his animations online, they're like super, super well done.
Neat. Guys, which one did you like more? Did you like opening 4 or opening 5 more?
When it came down to the song, I liked Odd Future more, but for nearly everything else besides if this makes sense, the actual animation, I liked Make My Story more, but for what the animation showed, I liked Odd Future more, mainly because I liked the first half story-wise more than I like the second half, because I really like the camp arc and the villain hideout raid arc, and I mean that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Those arcs a lot more than the licensing exam.
Yeah. It seems like the commenters
agree 4 is better.
Yeah, they're pretty hard on 4.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying 4 is better.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is 5 is better is apparently wrong, so you can all shove your opinions where no one can see it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people.
It has that animator on it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you can shove your opinion when no one can see it.
Well, I see.
Black Manta.
Okay, well, you know, 5 has I think 5 has better flow than 4, but
yeah,
I think
they actually the song and animation work well together. While Odd Future
is disjointed.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing with 4 though is 4 has more exciting shots, like you were saying, Prower. Like, it's just like 5 unfortunately had to deal with just kids being kids and going through the world, which isn't as exciting as, say, all these villains coming here to have this giant climax with the kids.
Yeah, well, here's All Might getting ready to fight All for One in this one, and in this one we have Wind Boy getting excited.
Okay, but I honestly didn't expect to have that many people saying 4. I thought it was going to be more of an even split. I guess that tells you something.
That's because these people keep their ideals with them.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. They're keeping their ideals.
Yeah, Odd Future did have meme potential and whatnot, and was used to make my story not so much.
And I like that people are still wondering about who were the 2 guys in opening 5, and it's just those characters were throwaway shots.
Background characters.
Yeah, they're just throwaway shots. They're just attitude. That's all it was. It was just attitude. Oh, what if they were original characters from the animator or from the director? That would be interesting. Okay, I guess not that interesting because no one said anything about it, but that's cool. I think it's interesting.
They actually, it would have been smart to actually use those characters in the filler episode that featured Momo's team going through the first part of the Lightning Exam.
Oh, someone's asking, who would people say is the most popular character of this anime year?
I just had a quick question. Are the light novels canon? Because I keep hearing different things from people. Like, some people say they are, and some people say they aren't.
They're canon until proven non-canon. That's just how it is. If it's a spin-off, it's canon until proven non-canon.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Vigilantes is soft canon too?
Yeah. Look,
yeah,
man,
Vigilantes.
I'm going to use garbage from the light novels to justify my obscene, rants.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean they're canon. Because every part other than the part I use to justify my obscene rants are the only canon bits to me.
Yeah. For me, the way I think of it is like, it's your choice. Like, I think that they make it as canon as they can, and then it's up to the fans whether or not they want to take it as canon. But if you were to skip it, it's not going to ruin your experience. But Vigilantes is without a doubt definitely 100% canon. Everyone went quiet. Wow. Jesus.
Alright, well, speaking about the light novels, what did you think of the fantasy light novel? Because it made one of my stupid theories canon.
I haven't read it. I haven't read it yet.
Light novel?
Yeah, man, it's
I haven't really read the light novel, so
it's based on the endings. Oh no, it's based on the fantasy setting from one of the character polls.
The popularity poll, which had an ending based on that.
Yeah, so they made a light novel.
Anyway, so my theory was Tsuyu has a crush on Aizawa.
Oh, man. I've been recently thinking about that too because of one thing that happened in Season 4 as well. Oh, that's funny.
I know, right?
Oh,
anyway,
I'm glad you're on it. I'm glad you're thinking about it.
Point is, in the fantasy light novel, the moment Aizawa shows up, Tsuyu's like, we should listen to this guy. He's great. I totally trust this man with my life.
Yeah, and you know, I also think it's interesting that after Tsuyu has her thing in the current arc, after she has her review, Aizawa gives her a very, very detailed review, and I can't help but see something there after what I saw in I guess the season 4 events. It's just everything I see now. I'm just like, oh man. I hope that.
You better be careful.
I hope that ship doesn't gain traction. I hope it just stays a joke and it doesn't.
Let me tell you, it trended on Twitter for about a day. No, what is it? No, not a day. 4 hours. That's not even close to a day. After a certain chapter in the manga.
Oh no! Oh yeah, the chapter.
Japanese Twitter, that is.
Yeah, the chapter where she helps him see.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh yeah, I thought so. Because that was. Yeah, fandoms are gross, man. Fandoms are gross. That's how it always is.
Fandoms are great.
Does anyone ship Mina and Kirishima? Like, yeah, tons of people do. So someone was asking it in the comments just now.
Mina or Mine?
Oh, no, Mina. It's definitely Ashido Mina.
Okay, I thought you meant like Mine, like Mineta, for some reason.
I know. I think people would ship Mineta and Kaminari.
Here's the real question: if it was Mineta, what would their kid's quirk be?
For her and Mina, Mineta and Mina.
No, and Kirishima. We've been on this.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I guess it'd
Barnacles? No. The urchins, like spiky balls.
Wow.
Sounds good to me.
I was gonna say hard balls, but that works too.
Or, I when it comes to Kirishima and Mina, that's what you said.
Yeah. That was the initial question.
Does anyone ship Mina and Kurishima?
Kurishima?
That's what it said.
Curry?
And then
Quirk was that he can make pork curry from his hand.
I feel like that should be Lunch Rush's quirk, but it's not. I don't know what Lunch Rush's quirk is.
It's producing a healthy lunch for over 100 students, and in a reasonable amount of time.
I feel like Lunch Rush's quirk is that he can duplicate stuff.
That's just cheating.
Yeah. Well, I guess
that would make sense. Like he could just make one meal then duplicate as many times as he needs.
I saw Suyu X Mineta. That's
it used to be pretty popular early.
Yeah,
when she drowned him that one time.
Yeah.
And then when she hung him.
And then she slapped him.
I guess I don't know.
She slapped him across the face with her tongue too.
Yeah, and also the fact that they teamed up at Sports Festival.
Yeah.
To the second part.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, ships aside, is there anything else that we wanted to talk about?
Psycho and Telly was a very good waifu. Whoever designed her deserves a cookie.
Okay, that's very kind. We'll have to get one of those designers' cookies. We should start a service where we specifically donate money to send animators cookies. I think that would be amazing.
I'm giving that Rio Chimo guy like 20 cookies. No, I'm giving him a whole pack of Oreos because he deserves all of that. He's a good boy.
All right. Since I think we're done with everything, here's a huge question. What if Thanos was in MHA? Would his quirk be Snap? Because we know it wouldn't.
Thanos is already an alien.
I think a better question when it comes to relating Thanos and My Hero Academia, if he snapped his fingers, who do you think out of Class 1A would disappear? Because it would involve.
You would flip a coin every time. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'd flip a coin every time.
Well, at the same time, though, it's going to be 10 disappear. You know that just like in the Infinity War, the main few characters don't disappear. So Izuku.
Well, I mean, here's the issue. If I had to translate Izuku to anybody in Marvel, I would translate him to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man got destroyed. So
yeah, it's Zero that would probably be more Spider-Man than Izuku. I understand that Izuku and Spider-Man, yeah, they could be very similarly linked.
I bet Mineta would be the only one who survives, because everyone else would get Tails for some absurd reason. Mineta's the only one who survives. He sticks his quirk all over the Infinity Gauntlet, so he can never do it again.
Okay, if I
Mineta beats Thanos single-handedly.
If I have to be serious, I would say the characters that had a bigger role in the first half of Hero Academia survive, and the characters that have a big role in the second half disappear. So we're talking people like not Mina, we're talking people like Bakugo, Izuku, Ida, not Tokoyami. Tokoyami goes away. Ochaco, they all stay. Momo's might leave as well. Todoroki stays. Vine Girl from Class 1B stays.
No, I said Class 1A. We're talking about Class 1A. So
I know, but Class 1, but I'm gonna put in Vine Girl. I'm gonna put Vine Girl in there because Vine Girl was once upon a time part of Class 1A before she got removed. But yeah, that's how I would like try and rationalize it. Prower.
I'm talking about like the 20 that from the very start of the year. I'm not talking about anyone that was moved to a different class. I'm talking about the 20 that we know of as Class 1A.
I know Prower, but I want to have fun with her. But otherwise,
Prower,
yes.
No, you flip a coin. Okay, look, I get it narratively. Yeah, no, it's the ones who beat Thanos who survive. But if they had died and the others had lived, it would have been the other way around. They would have still been the ones who beat Thanos, and they'd be the ones who survived. It doesn't actually matter. You flip a coin.
Fine. You want me to flip? Just go by each of the each seat in the Class 1A and just flip a coin, heads or tails, see if that person survives.
Well, that's kind of how it works. That's kind of how Thanos did it. He did a 50-50 shot.
If he didn't, then okay. Look, if he had any bias whatsoever in it, which is the opposite of what he said, he would have killed everyone who fought against him.
Oh, wait, Prower, I can't hear you, so just give me a second. Okay, there we go.
Okay. If Thanos had... Oh, it was a Prower who you can't hear?
Yeah, I couldn't hear Prower.
I wasn't speaking, but...
Oh, okay.
So it's me.
Cool.
He may have thought I was speaking and couldn't hear me, but...
Yeah, so it's just whenever your icon goes green and I don't hear you for a long time, I assume that I can't hear you anymore.
Well, I just wasn't speaking, so that's the answer. We're just going green just because it probably picked up, like, breathing or something.
Well, no, two snaps wouldn't kill 100%. 2 snaps would kill 75%.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he wants to kill 100%, then he only needs 1, really.
Well, okay. I'm pretty sure the only reason why Snap erased half of all life is because he wanted to. Like, if anyone else wanted to do something else with the Infinity Gauntlet, that Snap could do it. Like, let's say I want $1 million. Snap. Oh, it's right there. Like, I'm pretty sure how they're going to solve all of what happened with the different people getting erased is someone gets the Infinity Gauntlet and snaps it to bring those that died due to the snapback.
Oh man, I had once read some spoilers, or not spoilers, but alleged leaks for Avengers, and they were saying that they're gonna fix it by going back into the past through the quantum realm, and I just thought, that is so convoluted. I hope that doesn't happen.
That sounds like exactly what they're gonna do.
That's so convoluted.
And I know when it comes to, like, good old Chris Evans, he just made a tweet the other day that made it seem like as if this next Avengers film will be his last time playing Captain America.
Well, he's been saying that for a long time, though. Okay, actually, we're totally off track. Guys, should we, like, start wrapping it up here?
I think we wrapped it up a while ago, and now we're just shooting the shit.
Oh, we wrapped it up. Okay, excellent. Okay, well, you guys have all heard that. We have officially wrapped it up, and now we're shooting the shit. So, feel free to stay, but otherwise, thanks for being here. We had over 30 people listening this whole time. That's a lot.
Yeah, we had over 30 people. Here's Ramble. Yeah!
It's okay, we ramble together.
Howard, do you have any Halloween puns before we wrap it up? Oh, okay.
Okay, he was quiet. Yeah, cool.
Sorry, you wrapped up now.
Well, no, it's still running, Schnorf. Maybe you don't want to.
Oh no.
Well, maybe we should ask like audience about potential future podcast ideas that we have in the future, that to make sure that we are getting their interest.
You talk about the slime anime thing.
Oh, I love
that.
That
could be a whole
anime.
podcast.
I love the slime
So
anime
do I.
thing.
I would love to talk about that for 3 days.
Oh, anyway, yeah, guys in the comments, let us know what kind of things you want to hear about. You can let me know on the channel. You can let me know on any of the Q&A videos as well. You don't have to let me know just on this. Is this going to be uploaded? Yes, it should be. It's usually like 3 days delay with YouTube because it comes up unlisted first, but it should be uploaded eventually. Okay, cool.
Fuck.
Anyway, I think I'm going to kill the live stream there. So everyone, thanks for watching. Does anyone want to say bye-bye?
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.
Stay off of drugs and go to school.
Oh, wait,
okay.
Everyone watch the slime anime. It's really good. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, everyone watch the slime anime.